And we're live, so happy Thursday, everyone, and welcome back to our No Code Ops live community show. I hope you're doing well wherever in the world you're joining us from. And as I always like to say, we'd like for our events to be as interactive as possible. So if you're here watching us live, let me know, drop a comment in the chat. And actually, yeah, we can start doing that now. Do tell me, where are you joining us from? And are you an agency, a consultant, an ops professional, a bit of everything, a generalist? Everyone's welcome here. But if this is your first time, we're No Code Ops, an official Zapier community. We run a very active Discord server where professionals from around the globe get together every day, share best practice, learn together, grow together, and scale. So if you would like to join us, I'll drop a link in the chat as well. So if you've been watching our stream, oh, hi, I see all the friends in the chat. Awesome. If you've been watching our streams before, today we have a slightly different format. So it's not your usual presentation, but it's going to be just as powerful and impactful. You might have noticed we had a massive launch on Monday. We launched our Zapier Solution Partner Program. And so we wanted to make sure that we really shared all the news. We really want to make sure that you get the full experience, not just from us working at Zapier, but also from some of our solution partners who have been invited to come here on our stream today to share their experience and their journey so that you can see what it takes to create a successful business leveraging our amazing platform. But before we get our guests in, I'm very, very grateful to also have our Senior Partnerships Director, Michael Shen, who will be giving us an overview of the whole program. So without further ado, let me get Michael in. Hi, Michael. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for the warm welcome. I'm going to dive right in because I know we have a lot of content today. Can you all see my screen?
Oh, absolutely. Let me get your screen on the camera. Here it is.
Okay, great. Well, just to give everybody a little bit of deeper intro, my name is Michael Shen. I lead our channel partnerships team here at Zapier, and my team was responsible for the big launch on Monday. I'm so excited to give my preamble on the state of Zapier and talk a little bit about the relaunch of our Solution Partner Program today. On today's agenda, we'll briefly cover Zapier's positioning relative to all of this, recap our newly relaunched Solution Partner Program, and then discuss some ideas, tips, and tricks, and finally move on to some of the solution partners who are in our program who can give you their stories about how they've been successful in our program. Okay, let's talk about Zapier's positioning. I want to first put us back in the time machine and rewind back to the year 2023. It's the year of spy balloons, Barbenheimer, big box office hits. And speaking of big, you can see our Zapier homepage font was colossal. Our messaging was really simple. Automation is easy, and it can produce a lot of impact for companies. Okay, now let's fast forward to 2024. NATO welcomed Sweden, the US hosted a little small election, and baby hippo Moo Dang took the world by storm. And as for Zapier, our headline font has gotten a little slight size correction, and now we've mentioned AI, but it's largely a bolt-on to the main Zapier workflow offering. Okay, now we're in 2025. Looking at the messaging and positioning on the homepage, AI orchestration, or scaling AI in a coordinated way, is a clear shift in how we present ourselves. And I can let you in on a bit of an open secret. AI is growing faster than any other category on our platform and has created renewed interest for Zapier's capabilities among ops teams and non-developer citizen builders. Users are running 200 million plus AI tasks per month through Zapier. You'll also see on this page, this isn't just about workflows with AI bolted on. It's about having your entire business processes all on Zapier across our complementary products of agents, tables, interfaces, and Canvas. I would argue it's our most opinionated point of view we've had in years, and something that we want you to understand as your clients look for order in the chaos of AI and the opportunity of AI. With that, I want to talk about this idea of the AI automation spectrum. I love this chart. It basically gives you the idea that with Zapier, you can mix and match our various products and features to get the right balance of AI-powered inference and also traditional deterministic automation to meet your needs. On the left, we have deterministic workflows, traditional apps where triggers and actions follow predictable paths reliably. pick a commons app, like a new lead coming in, sending a text, and then adding it to your CRM. On the far right side, you have Zapier agents, which are fully AI. They combine natural language instructions, processing, knowledge, and tools to autonomously complete these complex tasks. But sometimes the right thing for the job is somewhere in the middle of this spectrum. You might add a simple step to have AI generate a custom message to send in that text. Or in the middle, you can bring more complex AI functionality to do research on the web or to analyze knowledge while still having the benefits of traditional deterministic automation for the rest. Most organizations need solutions across this entire spectrum, and we believe we Zapier provide a powerful set of tools that help you navigate that and help them see what's possible. Okay, I've briefly talked about our repositioning as a company. Now I want to talk about the repositioning of our Zapier Solution Partner Program. So with the context of AI orchestration in mind, we want to make sure our Zapier solution partners are not viewed merely as quote unquote experts at workflows on Zapier, but more broadly empowering customers and clients to unlock more value through automation and AI. I personally want each and every one of you to actually be paid for your expertise on more than just an hourly transactional level, but hopefully more and more in a strategic, long-term way. We're seen more as a fractional CTO or technical advisor even. From a Zapier company standpoint, we see Zapier Solution Partners as an extension of our go-to-market strategy. And to make sure we're not just paying lip service and saying that, we realize it's about giving you all the right tools, the right opportunities, and the right resources to make you the best advisors for your clients. I won't spend too much time highlighting the launch updates. I just want to call out some of the most important changes. Before, we had limited to no formal enablement for our solution partners, and partners had to scrounge for information across places like YouTube and the web. And now we have role-based enablement, where there's guided onboarding and dedicated sales and technical training, and there'll be more to come. Additionally, we used to have disparate systems managing our solution partner application, where you can see your leads, where you can manage your learning, alerts. These are all warehoused and housed in different systems. And now we have a unified partner portal where dashboards, enablement, lots of content, all warehoused in the same place. And there's more coming in terms of putting additional content and additional consolidation of all these views within our partner portal. Finally, I want to call out that previously we had a bit of a stale tiering practices. Our tiering by percentile mostly rewarded time in our program, not necessarily quality and impact. I'm really proud that with the rollout of our new tiering, solution partners now receive benefits based on their expertise, the quality of their delivery, and their ability to scale impact. So really bringing us in line with aligning your interests with our interests. Okay. And so we're all navigating a new exciting future that holds changes for all of us. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about a few ideas, tips, and tricks that may help you accelerate your business. Keep in mind, these are somewhat general, and we'll dive into specific real life examples from some of the solution partners on this call. These are just observations of mine on what I've seen starting to change. Okay, first I want to talk about positioning and differentiation. As I alluded to earlier, I think more and more of our successful Zapier solution partners aren't just calling themselves Zapier experts. They position themselves as business problem solvers, somebody who especially somebody who understands an industry or a particular niche really deeply. These niches may be things like real estate, home services, hospitality, e-commerce. That really helps with the credibility that, hey, I not only know automation and AI, but I know the specific application in your space. Also, I've seen more of this focus on ROI. If you focus on business value and ROI, folks are more likely to not see it as, something that's a one-time transaction, but something they need on an ongoing basis. Finally, highlighting certifications, case studies, showing up as a thought leader, and just staying abreast of new developments helps people understand, okay, even if I'm not very well read or kept abreast of these things, I can rely on a solution partner to help meet me where I am. Next, I want to briefly talk about pricing. I think it's important to pick a pricing model that meets the project and its goals. In the past, there has been a lot of hourly pricing, just on as I mentioned, on a more transactional basis. We've seen more and more solution partners start to work and experiment with other things like project fees, retainers, value-based pricing. These are things that build long-term relationships. And on top of that, to the earlier point about ROI, 5K or 10K may seem a lot to your client, but if you match it up with, the value that you're providing them, like 5K contract to provide 20K in terms of savings, it suddenly becomes much more attractive, right? And gets your clients out of the mindset that I'm looking for the cheapest hourly rate to solve my problem. And finally, I think a really big aspect of being successful is finding the ways in which you can acquire new clients and find new channels for exploration. These include, our own Zapier Solution Partner directory, but also seeing the growth of third-party marketplaces that allow specialists to provide advice, things like Growth Mentor Clarity, Upwork, Contra, etc. I think those are all places, especially if you're new or starting out, to explore and see where you might want to pick up additional project work. It's also important to write and share content and basically show up as a thought leader, right? That might also include joining communities that are local or online. You might even reach out directly to startups who need help post-funding. And obviously, this is a business that's based on trust. And so referrals from existing clients is a great way to continue to build on that momentum once you have your initial set of clients.
Absolutely.
Okay, with that, real quick, before I wrap, I just want to give a big thanks to the internal teams involved in relaunching this program. We hope you see this in the same way that we do, which is a big first step toward building a world-class program. We know we're not there yet, and we'll need your help in getting us there. So feel free to reach back out with any feedback that you might have. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Michael. I think, this was so insightful and such an amazing walkthrough in less than 10 minutes. So thank you so much. And what I love the most about our program is that, very similarly to the way on how we build community, we are building it with the people. And so we want to reiterate that comment that Michael just shared, like, share your feedback. We want to build this program with you and to make sure that it's a successful program, not just for us, but ultimately for you as, and your career. And that's why we invited some of our solution partners here to come and share their experience and their journey. So and before we do that, I just wanted to say hi to all the people, we have in the chat. So I'm reading all your comments. I know that I've asked you to submit some questions because this is an AMA. So I got those, don't worry. But throughout the stream, if you think of anything new, please let us know, because again, we're here to grow together and make sure we make the most of our time during the stream. So without further ado, let me welcome Kelly Goss from Solva. Hi, Kelly.
Hello, Claudia. Hi, Michael. Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here.
It's great to have you here. I mean, Kelly and I have been collaborating for such a long time, and your journey has just been an inspiration to me, and I'm sure to many of our operations professionals in the community. But you're not the only partner we have today. We also have Eric Granata from Promo Pilots. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Claudia. Hey, Michael.
How are you doing today?
Doing very well, thank you. I am fully caffeinated.
I love that. I think I'm on my third, so right there with you. People that are part of our NoCodeOps community, you will recognize Eric as one of our most active community members, very successful partner. He's been helping people throughout our conversations, hosting events, you name it. Eric, you're such a great asset to the community. So thank you for that as well. And I can see some recognition in the chat, both to you, Kelly, and Eric. So yeah, you got all our fans here. And last but not least, Nathan Whale from Flow Digital. Nathan, how are you today?
Hi, hello, Claudia, Michael, Kelly, Eric. So good to be here. Super honored to be here.
We're in such good company. Nathan, you've been leading the way, right, with Flow Digital. You've been, again, such an inspiration to the community, to our solution partner community. And so I've had some requests from your fellow partners to be like, oh, can you get Nathan to share all about his secret sauce? So maybe you won't be giving us your, full-on recipe, but maybe you can share some ingredients at the end, towards the end of our call.
Of course. Happy to share anything that could be helpful.
Give us all the secrets. All right. So I would like to give each and every one of you a few minutes to introduce your business and maybe talk a little bit about the journey being a Zapier Solution Partner. And so I would like to start with you, Kelly, if that's okay. Tell us all about Solva and how did you get there and where are you headed?
So I am the founder of Solva. We're a small but growing agency. There's 6 of us in the team right now. I'm also the author of a book called Automate It with Zapier and Generative AI, which I'm very proud to say is the only book on the market that's actually been not self-published, but actually published through a technical publisher. So I'm quite proud of that. Little bit about us as a company. Interestingly, and there's always this conversation about, are you a generalist or do you have a niche or a niche that you like to work in? I think we've always been generalists because I'm sure this is very similar for a lot of people who've been in this space for a long time. So I've been running Solva it's our 10th year this year. And I think because Zapier is a platform that obviously integrates with so many thousands of different tools, it was always easy for us to be generalists. And we do have our areas that we specialize in. So we work with tools like Pipedrive and database tools like SmartSuite and Airtable as well. But Zapier has always been the core in terms of what we have always done. And I think the thing that I'm most passionate about is educating people. So I have spent a lot of time over the last 10 years teaching people or helping people to understand what automation is, what no code is, now kind of like what is AI and how does that fit into the picture of what we do to help businesses. But for a long time, people didn't know what automation was or AI or no code. And I think people still don't know. They know what AI is, but they don't really still know what automation and no code are. So I've spent a lot of time like webinars and events and that kind of thing to promote not only my business, but to educate people. And I'd say that as a business, we are much more focused on digital transformation, not just solving little problems to achieve one little thing, but helping businesses to go from paper and spreadsheets, because believe it or not, I know people know this, there are still businesses that use paper and spreadsheets and maybe email and a storage solution to help them to totally digitize and run their businesses much more efficiently, to be able to scale and be more productive and run their businesses in a much better way than they do now. But with that also comes the educational aspect of it. And what we're now focusing the business on is AI and automation enablement, which is much more about embedding these principles into a business specifically to help everybody in the business to do something with technology, whether or not that's just being able to prompt properly or being able to build their first Zap or build an agent. But for that to be something that 80 to 90% of people in a business are able to do. So if you've never heard the word citizen development, that's more about what we're kind of focusing on now. And really excited about that.
There's so many different terms, aren't there? Citizen development, solution architect, a no-code operator. I remember we spent a long time trying to teach people what a no-code operator was. Eric, you got some scratching coming from your end.
Yeah, sorry. So the mascot of Promo Pilot is a real parrot, and she's having a moment.
I love that.
You're welcome to mute me if you need
She
to.
wants to be on the stream. That's great. Kelly, I do have so many questions for you, but before we tackle a few of them, I wanted to ask you if you had maybe a use case. I know that you've been mentioning AI enablement for companies, or just a different niche compared to what other people on this call have. Do you have a particular real use case that you'll be able to share with us today?
Yes. So I'd say one of the biggest projects that we worked on and most interesting project was to help a company that had just under 100 employees to, at that time, embed Zapier throughout the organization. So we helped them to essentially look at different departments, what are they doing? So auditing their processes, but then also helping individuals within those teams to understand how they're doing things, how they could automate different processes that they're using on a daily basis. And we also trained everybody on how to use the basics of Zapier so that they would have been able to build just some basic Zaps for themselves, but then also incorporate that into whatever tools that they were using as well. And then develop champions within the organization to help the people who may not have had the best technical skills, to help them and train them and kind of embed a culture of thinking about productivity all the time. And that was really exciting because, a lot, like I mentioned earlier on, we work on a lot of digital transformation projects where we're going from very, manual and repetitive processes, not very many digital systems, to something that's much more digitized. And incorporated into that is the training aspect. And that's exciting because you work with all different departments, but we're doing most of the hands-on work. In this project that I was talking about earlier, that was mostly, we were doing the initial part for them, helping them to think about the process, but then giving them the tools to be able to do it and then just supporting them with it. So we were much more in a coaching environment rather than building, which was actually really cool because the outcomes of it mean that, you've got a company that comes out with empowerment for everybody. And not everybody's going to be able to do everything, but that's the point of having tiers of more technical people and, people that know the basics.
I love that train the trainer sort of strategy that you're using. And I've seen a lot of co-building initiatives as well within our community, lots of our partners and, even consultants that might not yet be a partner. And if you're not, I invite you to sign up. Lots of people have started doing this co-building with their clients. So similar to what you're saying, really educating people on what their pains are and what the solutions can be and how to maintain them, because that's the most crucial part, isn't it? So after you've built a solution, how do you make sure that is scalable and that, when things break, they know where to look, which is the main thing. So thank you so much, Kelly. I will get back to you for our questions. And now I'd like to get Eric and his mascot, Promo Pilot. Hi, Eric.
Hey.
Tell us all about your Promo Pilot and maybe tell us about your parrot.
Okay, so the parrot is an Indian ringneck parrot. Her name is Toda, which, if you know what that means, is probably not the most inspired name for a parrot, but it's funny to me, so that's her name. I started Promo Pilot just about a year ago after spending 12 plus years in the print and promotional products industry. So branded merch is like the cool way to say that. And I've been a Zapier user for 12 plus years. I think I read about it on Hacker News a million years ago. And I've been a super fan for a long time, and Zapier has played a very important part in the success that I had in the print and promotional products industry. And so when I decided to form an agency, which it's just me right now, so solo, when I decided to form the agency, it was very natural for me to stay in the print and promotional products industry. There's some characteristics to the industry that I think make it a good niche to be in. But I already know the processes, and I've already solved for a lot of problems with Zapier when I was in the distributor role. And so now I try to do what Kelly's doing and educate the broader industry on what no code can do and how it can empower individuals at their companies and really be transformative for them.
And same question goes to you. Do you have a particular real use case that you can share with us today?
I do, yes. This one's going to sound deceptively simple, but it is important nevertheless. So, as distributors, we're producing branded merchandise for different companies, and inevitably they will begin to ask things like, "Hey, you're building our new hire kits. Can you just automatically ship those out every time we have a new employee?" And fortunately, the answer is yes. And if we build a Zap or a couple of Zaps that not only take that information from their human resources platform and make the right API calls to your 3PL to get the merchandise released to them, maybe pull that API to get the tracking number so you can keep the new employees informed on where their order is. It's such a common use case in my niche, and once you do it once, and if we are educating the client on how this operates, then they can replicate that success throughout their organization. And the next time a company or client asks them, "Hey, can you automatically send out our new hire kits?" The answer is yes, we can. And so it really gives them superpowers and almost a feature that they couldn't have offered before.
Just like you're saying, arguably simple, but yet so powerful. And I love that you're talking about niching down, because we had a lot of questions submitted about that particular topic, and so I might get back to you on that. All right, last presentation from Nathan. Hi, Nathan, from Flow Digital. I love that we have such a nice range of going from Eric, being a solo agency right now, to Kelly, bigger agency, and Nathan, who's, how big is your agency, Nathan?
Yeah, we're at 19. We're at 19 now. Yeah,
19.
but,
okay, so I think Kelly's
yeah.
catching up.
Not long ago, I was a freelancer. So
let's start with that. Tell us about your journey.
Yeah, as director of operations at a local marketing agency, I started. I worked with a lot of tools at the company, and at some point, I got stuck on in a technical challenge, that the CRM couldn't do, and I had a techie friend that basically introduced me to Zapier. Hey, you can totally solve this with a tool called Zapier, and I never looked back once I saw the power that's possible. And happens to be that friend became team member number 1 at Flow Digital. So, and he's still a team member. His name is Moishi Gottfried. Some of you may know him. He's very active in the community. So, that was in 2018. I became a Zapier partner. Then it was called Experts, and now Solution Partner. And this was very, very instrumental in helping us grow our agency. So we, over the years, we got exposure to big name clients like Cash App and Discovery.com, and without it, without the partner program, we wouldn't be able to get that exposure and trust that is necessary when you're going after clients. So yeah, very, very grateful for the experience of being a partner.
It's so cool that you had the one friend enabler. Yeah, I do know him. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's really nice to hear how that simple interaction took you into leading one of the most successful Zabier agencies out there. So Nathan, same question to you. Do you have a real use case you'd like to share?
Yeah, there's so many use cases. When you asked me to prepare one, I was like, wow, okay.
What's your favorite one?
So one that we're working on right now is of course, now AI is everything, right? A lot of companies now do Zoom like has transcripts, or you use like utilizing transcripts for automation is very underutilized. So for example, we constantly look for, like, to answer this question that you just asked, like, what are some use cases that are beneficial for automation? So our team is fully remote. We took a page out of Zapier's playbook for that. And everything that we do gets recorded, right? Like gets logged, gets documented. So we have like AI pick up Zapier, pick up all those things, and just paint a picture of like a use case or a so to be able to pick up those use cases, and we'll be, it's very easy to then ask the agent like to give use cases. That's one way. Another way is we have AI just monitor for when it's the right time to reach out to a client for a testimonial or for a case study. So all of that happens in the transcripts. So we're able to pick that up very easily.
Transcripts are such a good use case. There are so many different ways people can manipulate that data. And I can see a comment in the chat from Thali that says, great use of static data, Nathan. It's so important. And we often talk about it in the community as well. Your clean data can lead to such amazing builds, but you should always start with the data. And in your case here, transcripts can lead to so many different outlets and use cases, like something that I've used myself, generate customer stories, generate insights from our calls in the community. It's so great to be able to use that data and transform it into something new. So that's brilliant. All right. Well, thank you all for sharing a little bit about your journey and your favorite use cases. I think we can finally start our AMA. So, as I mentioned, I've collected a few questions here for us. And so I'm going to start again with Kelly. And Michael, let me know if you have any comments. Like, would you like to comment on any of the journeys that we've heard from so far?
No comment so far. I mean, I think what maybe one comment I'll offer is I do think there's a real wide diversity of folks who have been successful. Those who have operated single person shops, to those who are, growing, those who are more nicheified, and those who are more generalized. So I think there's, not to wax poetic, but there's an aspect of like finding what makes you you and expressing it through the program, and not necessarily some kind of simple formula for success.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why we wanted to have a variety, of different professionals here representing so many different approaches that you can take, when you become a partner. And we often talk about niching down and focusing and finding your ideal, your ICP, ideal customer profile. But sometimes it's good to build up on all those other skills that are required to make sure that you do come out as the perfect partner. There isn't such a thing, I don't think. But the beauty of us being here together and having the community or having this back and forth, even with our team at Zabier, is that we can work together on getting closer to that, perfect partner profile, to that PPP. We got some questions in the chat, but before I start picking up your questions, people, I'm going to bring up Kelly again. And so, Kelly, let's start with a few questions that we had in our form. Question number 1, and I'm going to put that in the chat so everyone can see. How can we make sure we can align with the best matching for clients or automators?
So when I hear that question, what I'm assuming is that it's a question about, like, how do you, as the person working, doing the project, the automator, aligns with the client, and it's the best match for a relationship. That's what I'm understanding by that.
Mm-hmm.
So My first thing that I think is important is use your instincts. So, well, I think everybody works in a different way in this industry, but we always have a discovery call first with every single client. We don't engage in anything until we've had a discovery call with somebody to make sure that we align with them. They're the right type of client for us. We're the right provider for them. Personalities are going to match. And why that's important is because I think you can get some really difficult people, and it's just not worth it going down the road of having a difficult relationship. Why do we do what we do? We do it because, not necessarily because we want to make money. That's a great consequence of doing what we're doing, but it's because we love doing what we're doing. So, why do we want to spoil that by having a mismatch in a client provider relationship? So I'd say always go with your instincts. If you think that it's going to be trouble, I promise you it's going to be trouble. And I think, thereafter it's about service levels. I feel that that's super important. Service levels, communication, and the same from the other side in terms of expectations, matching expectations. And if you know that you're going to be working with somebody who's not really good at communicating, I think that's going to be a challenge as well. So those would be my top kind of suggestions.
That's great. And it links up nicely to the second question I have for you, which is also one of my favorite here that I've seen from our form. How do you deal with stubborn clients?
Sack them.
How do you fire? That's a conversation we had in the community. How do you fire a client?
I have to say that I've been pretty lucky in the sense that, again, this comes back to having a conversation at the beginning, making sure that you're aligned. But you know what, we're all human, and we're not going to get it right all the time. And sometimes there are other priorities that come up that help you to make a decision that may not be the best decision. And sometimes there is a need to move away from an engagement. And like I said, I've been pretty lucky in the sense that over the 10 years that I've been running this business, I think there's probably been one or two situations where I've had to end a client relationship, and that's not great. Nobody wants to do that, because you feel like, even if you know that it's not something that is, obviously we all have interactions in a situation, and we have to accept responsibilities for the things that we may not have done right in that scenario. But you try and make it right until the point that it is no longer a feasible thing. And you just have to make a decision as to when that is the right time for you. And I had to do that recently with a client that I've been battling with for the last probably 3 years. And they were difficult from the beginning. And I made a wrong decision starting that engagement, but try to make it work, try to do the best thing for them. And in the end, it was in the end a toxic, horrible
relationship.
How
to break up with your clients.
I was just going to say, as a breakup, there's like never a great time to do it. Right?
There is never a great time.
I'll wait till next week, because that's when the calendars will align.
You just have to wait till they tip you over the edge, basically, and that's what happened. So, yeah,
you got to do it the second you have the idea.
Exactly.
Brutal. Here comes Nathan, like brutal breakups. Do you block them, Nathan? Do you block them off?
And ghost them for your sanity.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. It makes a lot of sense. I saw a comment in the chat as well from Sahan. Synergies need to align, so that's very, very true.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I know that's like a sensitive topic, and but it's important. It's important because we do deal with a lot of, it's reality. We do deal with people, and it's important to have positive collaborations on both sides of the deal.
And to learn from mistakes. That's like the most important part of it,
Absolutely. One last question for you, Kelly. What's the one thing most people underestimate or overlook in this field?
I would say probably service. So I think that if you're going into, if you're making this a career for yourself, then I think the best way to build a business and retain clients is to build relationships and want to do more and more and more for them. So I think service is part of that. And, you know, I think it should become second nature for you. And why I said that it's, people underestimate it, it's because, you know, at the end of the day, you still have to, you know, we're all people and we all have to figure out the best way of working together. And I think all of those three questions kind of fit nicely together, because it's all about that, you know, starting from the beginning and kind of working through and building a relationship with people.
People first, solutions after.
Absolutely. And that's it. I mean, we could always be thinking like this is just about technology, but ultimately it's about people, isn't it? We're doing stuff that we're doing to make the lives of people easier. So maintaining all of the people-led stuff is I feel very important.
Yeah, and I think it's really clear to see how passionate you are, and how much you love what you do, which is beautiful. And I think any client will be lucky to be working with you.
But they better be careful if they step out of line.
Absolutely, not toxic relationships allowed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kelly. I've got some questions for Eric. Eric, I've got a spicy question for you. I'm gonna put you
Okay, let's
here.
hear it.
Do you spend time convincing folks to move from existing Zapier competitors? I've seen a few comments in the chat. Or do you focus on those who have no solutions to begin with?
Okay. Fair question. In my case, the industry that I serve is pretty new to the concept of no-code automation and AI orchestration. And so Zapier, by way of Promo Pilot, is typically their first introduction into the automation scene. There have been some cases where a client has been using a competing platform, but they're wanting to move to Zapier either because the industry specific applications that they're using are already supported by Zapier, so it makes it a little bit easier for them to get their hands around it. Or the competing solution is kind of difficult for them to triage or manage. Zapier, I think, provides a more user-friendly experience to somebody who's new to automation. The last thing that helps is the domain expertise that I have in the niche. Like I said earlier, I've been spending years solving the same problems that my clients have with Zapier, and it can be much easier for a customer to engage with Promo Pilot because I'm already familiar with their processes and the weird nuance that's in the industry, where if they brought somebody else in, they might have to spend a lot of time kind of getting them up to speed on some of that nuance.
Which makes a ton of sense. And follow-up question, it's a nice segue. How do you niche down?
Okay. So I spent 12 years in the industry before starting Promo Pilot. And so deciding to niche down into that industry was a very natural move. I mean, honestly, I did it because it's what I was comfortable with. And so it wasn't like a big strategic decision that I made. There are some characteristics of the print and promotional products industry that I think make it good to niche down in. And perhaps, you know, those same characteristics might be seen in other verticals if somebody's interested. The first one is the industry itself is pretty old school, and they're thirsty for digital transformation. And when I say old school, I mean like fax machine old school. There are still fax machines in these folks' offices. Bless their hearts. So there's that. The next is the new generation of entrepreneurs who are coming into the space recognize the value of efficient operations. And that becomes helpful because margins have, you know, there's a lot of margin pressure, there's erosion in the space, and that is prompting these businesses to look into automation more. The last thing that I think is important is these businesses pay a lot of money for some of the very niche applications that they are using. and they want to, as a result, get maximum value out of their SaaS providers and their technology stack. And I think Zapier helps them do that. I'm not really interested in pushing them to any other applications. I want them to get the most value out of their existing tools as they can.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of strength when it comes to like knowing the inside out of a particular sector, like just what we were saying earlier, because then you are saving double the time, not only by implementing solutions for them that will eventually optimize their business, but you're saving that time of them having to train you on, you know, their whole industry. So that makes a ton of sense to me.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Eric. And
Sure.
Nathan, let's see what questions we've got for you. How do you find your first client as a solution partner? That's a really good question, especially for like people that are watching us on the stream live right now, or maybe they'll be watching this stream in the future. If you are interested in joining our program and becoming awesome partners, just like the ones we have here today, how do you find your first client, Nathan?
Okay, that's a great question. Yeah, so I would say the number one challenge of getting clients when starting out, especially, is it's not demand. The demand is here. You know, like who doesn't want to automate, right? If I have to choose one thing, and when you know, trying to get new clients, is trust. They don't trust you. You know, like I'm just a random guy that you met on the internet, right? So why should they trust me? So when I tell them like, hey, like check out Zapier's website, I'm listed there. You know, like I'm a solutions partner. So that's like a good way of gaining trust, and that you know, it makes the job much easier. You know, so when I started out, like I went on Upwork and networked and local events, and wherever I went, I was just like capitalizing on Zapier's brand. You know, like I'm a Zapier Solution Partner. I'm a certified expert. It's what I called then. So that helped a lot.
So you use the brand to build that trust and ultimately navigated that trust, and
For sure.
yeah,
For sure.
makes sense. And also, like, something that we keep talking about is do show up in whatever form, going to events, attending, you know, being part of a community. The more work you put in, the more value you get out of all these initiatives and opportunities. So
For sure, 90% is showing up.
absolutely. Another question for you, Nathan. I'm curious on how others have moved beyond just building automations to being seen as more of a strategic partner. What's worked for you in positioning Zapier as part of a bigger AI or workflow solution rather than just a tool?
Ooh. All right. Yeah. So one way I've moved away to be more strategic and is being proactive. You know, looking for pain points that the client didn't even think of mentioning. You know, like and offering solutions before they even ask. And of course, I think skipping technical jargon is like a big one. You know, like I had one client that just like was so annoyed, like he's telling me like, don't even mention the webhook or trigger or API. Like I'm not interested in these things, you know, like I just want to trust that like when I'm looking at the dashboard and see accurate data, you know, like it's like when my team needs to follow up on quotes, that they know that they have to do that, or that the email goes out automatically, you know, like I don't want my team wasting time on creating 12 different Google Drive folders when we get a new project. You know, that should happen automatically, and I want to know that I want to have the peace of mind that it happens. You know, so that's what I try to focus on. Skip the tech lingo and talk about the pain points and being proactive, and that's how they start seeing you as like a strategic partner, I think.
Yeah, that's a brilliant answer.
It's the first time I've heard somebody triggered by the word trigger.
It's so important to learn how to communicate with the client, and in particular the person, your stakeholder, the person you'll be working closely with. It's so important to share that same language. So I absolutely agree. Communication is key for trust. People say in the chat. So yeah, absolutely. One last question, and I know that people are asking for LinkedIn profiles. I am dropping them in the chat. Just give me 1 second and I'll be doing that. What would be the one tip for consultants attempting to scale up their automation services? That's another great question, because maybe we do have a lot of new partners in our program now. So Nathan, with your experience, what tip would you like to give to anyone who's trying to scale?
Very, very insightful questions. Yeah, I would say double down on partnerships and community. You know, like it's one of the most valuable ways to grow. I think that's like how I started Flow Digital, and partnerships and community was like a big factor. And you know, being a solutions partner, again, like it gives you the credibility. You know, like but it also connects you with other people that, you know, in the similar space. Partnerships helps you build trust faster, get you more exposure, and opens up opportunities that you wouldn't have on your own. You know, so that's my tip.
So do join our community and all the
For
other
sure.
great communities out there.
Yeah, and Claudia, you do a great job, and in the Discord community, I really enjoy hanging out there. You know, like and learning from everybody, and it's just, yeah, you never stop learning. You know, like once you feel like you know everything, that's a bad sign. You know, so
Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, absolutely. And I keep feeling like I'm never the smartest person in the room whenever we host our hangouts in the community, and that's the right place for me to be, because that means that I keep on growing every week, right? And I'm so inspired by all the amazing work that you do, and just like how much you're growing as professionals and just like thought leaders in the space. So that's really cool to see. Michael, I think we do have a question for you from James. Are the applications to the program open, or do you test and filter out applicants like you did in the past?
They're open. In the past, I think we essentially used to make our solution partners or experts at the time go through a pretty, some of the folks on this call remember, we had an interview, and then we had like a Zap challenge, basically a lot of work. That's a thing of the past. I think our philosophical shift has been, given the interest in joining the program and learning more, we're pretty much saying, hey, if you're interested in joining, apply. If you want to put in the time to really understand what the product is and develop yourself, we'd love to have you in the program. And so short answer is yes, we're open. Please, if you're interested, apply.
Come and join us. We're good fun, as you can see. So I'd like to finish off the stream with something that I've never done before, and because I like to do things on the spot, why not? I'd like for you, partners, to think of a question that you would like to ask another partner, because I want for this time to be as valuable and educational to you, because you've been so amazing to give us your time and your expertise. And I'm so grateful, and it's such a great opportunity for our global community here at Zapier. But I also want to make sure that it's equally valuable and educational for you, being part of this call. So one question that you would like to ask to another partner, could be anyone, but yeah, let's try that.
I have one for Kelly.
Oh, there you go.
So Kelly, you mentioned that education and empowerment was really important to you. My question for you is, how have you found the time to produce the content and write a pretty beefy book that I have right back there somewhere? How do you find the time to do that? Where did you get started with the content, and how did you scale that part of your business?
So great question. I think that always changes over time. And as my business has evolved, there've been periods where I've had more time and periods where I have less time. And that depends on, various things happening, recruitment or, whatever large project that I'm still involved in or whatever. So at the time that I wrote that book, I have to say, my advice to anybody here is, and somebody said this to me after I had written the book, writing a book is the most time-consuming and expensive exercise you would ever do, and probably not the best marketing idea because it's so time-consuming. And I wrote it before there was like the first version of it before ChatGPT and everything else. And
No shortcuts.
Yeah, no shortcuts. And it was very time-consuming. It was months of my life I will never get back. So there's a love-hate relationship with that book. But I mean, content, I think it's just finding the time. Now, my preference is finding solutions to be able to outsource some of the things that I could get somebody else to do and be involved in. Because again, it's been a period of over years. Sometimes you're not so busy because there are various things that are happening. Other times that you're quite busy, and yeah. So I don't know if that's the best answer to your question, but I just find that it varies depending on the year, depending on what's happening, depending on the direction I'm taking in the business. But the book was very time consuming.
Content is still important though to what you're doing.
Content's important. Brilliant. Yeah. And I try to outsource whatever I can. That's my best thing, but I think sometimes you can't outsource everything. So
thank you. Yeah. Appreciate it.
I love that. Kelly, do you have a question for anyone?
I have a question for Nathan. I mean, Nathan and I speak once in a while, but I think any tips for growing a team successfully? That would be my question.
Yeah, that's a good one. I would say just bring onto the team people that are smarter than you. Like that's like I don't consider myself knowing everything, and I have the utmost tremendous respect for each and every of my member of my team. They're just so smart, and they're so trying to be helpful, and they help each other out, and it's just a different variety of skill sets, and it's just that's the number one thing. Like, I'm not trying to replicate myself. I'm just trying to fill in for the things that like that complement skills that it's just like they're just to bring on people that are smarter than you. So that would be my answer.
I love that. I have actually asked you that question before, and you told me the same thing. And that resonated with me, that hire people that are smarter than you. And yeah, I think that's an excellent advice. Yeah.
Complement your skills.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Nathan, do you have a question for Eric?
Yeah. At which point would you say to yourself, okay, I need to hire a team. I need to bring on more people to my team.
Good question, because he's working solo right now. So
yeah. I'm so 12 months in. I've gotten to the point where I do feel a little bit nervous about, at some point soon needing to turn away a job, just because there's only so much I can do. To prepare for that, I have done what you suggested. I've surrounded myself with people who are smarter than me in the no-code ops community. I've connected with folks on LinkedIn who are interested in taking on freelance work. So I'm not to the point yet where I'm bringing somebody else in, but I'm trying to be prepared for when that happens. I think that at the point where I would need to hire somebody would I would probably do that earlier than I need to, specifically because there are some other things about the business I'm interested in, like producing content and having the time to do content. So I'm looking forward to that, maybe this year.
Love it. Well, thank you all so much, for sharing your journeys, your expertise, giving us a bit of your valuable time. I know how important that is. And just like, thank you for helping us grow again as professionals, as people. And it's inspiring to watch you, to work with you. And we're just getting started. So I'm excited for what's to come. And actually, what is to come? Kelly, you and I are hosting a meetup, Zapier meetup in London on Monday. So if you are in London, UK, come and join us. And we've got some more exciting events coming up in September with our community and with our partnerships team. So please do stay tuned and don't miss out our announcements, because as you can see, there's lots of great stuff happening here. So thank you all so much. Michael, Kelly, Nathan, Eric, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon.
Thank you for hosting, Claudia. Bye, everyone.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Bye, people.
Cheers.
Bye.